because one thing we will say about Ounce of Hope is that it's the experience, it's the people, it's the feeling that you get in your stores.
Welcome to The Mizell Show.
An inspiration for a new generation.
Hi, I'm Alana Mizell, a loving mother of two, a devoted wife to Stephen, and an entrepreneur helping women realize their dreams and potential.
And I'm Stephen Mizell, caring father of two, a devoted husband to Alana, and a driving force to help young men prepare for life after college football.
And if that wasn't enough, we're a biracial couple.
She was raised in the North, but I was raised in the South.
The only thing normal about our lives, who am I kidding? It's never normal around here. Join us for The Mizell Show.
Right now.
Cam of Ounce of Hope. Who is Cam of Ounce of Hope?
Yeah, my name's Cam. It's short for Cameron. But moving out here, I sort of went by my little short name so that I could just get more comfortable
Yes.
with strangers faster. Something I picked up just traveling a bunch. So, yeah, I am the director of business operations for Ounce of Hope, and that means that I wear many hats. I am a co-founder with Ounce of Hope, but not in the sense of investment, just in the sense of the founding of the company itself, the opening the stores, getting the businesses going, doing the training and hiring and all these things. So I'm a team builder. I'm a hands-on builder with the stores and the farm, and I continue to do a little bit of everything throughout the days with Ounce of Hope.
So when we were kind of pre-chatting before the episode, one of the biggest things that we were, of course, talking about my experience with Ounce of Hope, but also just kind of all the different products that you guys have. Will you give just like,
Mhm.
The elevator pitch of Ounce of Hope?
Yeah, like
Absolutely.
because it'll be better than anything Stephen and I could say.
Absolutely. So essentially, we are a vertically integrated aquaponic cannabis farm and dispensary. So vertically integrated means that we have a hand on every step of each product from the seed to sale, or whatever little catchphrase you'd like to use, soil to oil, there's a bunch of those. So essentially, being vertically integrated means that we have the control over our products from their supply chain and also for their quality. And we also count on consumers like y'all to give us feedback so that we can be constantly adapting our products and our strategies so that we can do the most good for everyone and for Ounce of Hope. So we have,
And
oh,
so,
sorry, I was just going to say, like, as far as our
yeah,
products,
no,
we do
yeah.
have, I don't even know how many SKUs. It's kind of mind-boggling at this point. We have all the different types of products that you would look for, and then some that you would never even consider, but are very useful in the cannabis space. And we are a hemp dispensary. We're a hemp farm, though now with the availability of certain things and the way that the laws are written, we have everything inside of the hemp realm. We also now have THC products, both Delta 8 and Delta 9, and we have a wide array from edibles to topicals to things you would give to your pets, things that you would rub on your skin, things that you would drink. So a little bit of everything, and most every product has been designed by us, tested by us, fielded by our staff, and then brought to the market.
That's so cool. So one of the things that you just mentioned was edibles versus ingestibles. Kind of walk through what does that all mean to somebody who maybe is like,
Sure,
I've never stepped into this
sure.
world.
So edibles and ingestibles are sort of in the same category, but ingestible is a little bit broader. So technically, smoking flower would be a form of ingesting it, or taking an oil would be a way of ingesting cannabis or these different products. Edibles generally refer to a treat, a gummy, a chocolate, something along those lines. So we have this wide array because you don't always want to eat a piece of chocolate to help you sleep. Sometimes you need an oil for that. You don't always want to take an oil right before a workout. Sometimes you do want a little bit of sugar. So a gummy is good before a workout or something like that.
Gotcha. Literally, as you said that, so I take like a piece of chocolate every night, and I
Yeah.
told you that on the our little chat, and we were like, "Wait, should I not be taking the chocolate?"
I mean, but one thing is about finding what
Absolutely.
fits for you. But one thing
Yeah.
that I was fascinated with, there's a lot of things on the market from, CBD stores popping up,
Mm.
not every corner. You also have
It does feel like
it
it,
does feel
though.
like it, and you have it
Yeah.
online. So can you walk us through why you guys feel it's so important to go from, you said soil to seed
Seed
to
to
like
soil.
everything?
Yeah.
Because I know some people are just shipping items in and reselling. What does that look
Yeah,
like?
and depending on what city you're in, like if you go to Nashville and walk down Broadway, there are literally people on every corner selling in makeshift dispensaries, whether it's a cute little food truck or literally some guy with a food, like a TV tray selling products, literally like up next.
Oh.
Yes,
Oh
yes.
my
Last time I
goodness.
was in
All right.
Nashville, I could not believe my
That's where we're
eyes.
at. You can get
Yes,
your hot dog right here, and then you can
yeah,
get your CBD right here.
Yes.
Probably of the same caliber.
Probably the same caliber. Like you never know what's in a hot dog, so you don't know what's in your
yes,
CBD.
yes. So,
I mean, to each their own. Like you do you,
Yeah.
but
Yes.
you know,
So why is it important?
it's
why is it
important
important?
for us and the business model that we have and aspire to. It's important to us, even starting our business pre-COVID, we saw issues with supply chain and quality control and products being recalled or products, they might have a QR code that says they have a lab test, and then you scan it and nothing happens. And so if we are setting ourselves up as Ounce of Hope to be in this for the long haul, not just to make a quick buck, then we know from the beginning that we need to be able to provide something that is consistent and something that is um, clean and has the potency that it says it has. And for us, that's what vertical integration is important. And so then that takes us, okay, well, we need more than a store then. We need a cultivation facility. And then, okay, now we need the most sustainable type of cultivation facility that we can have in an indoor facility. So that leads us to the aquaponics and producing our own fertility. And then the fertility opens up this community aspect. And so it's this snowballing effect that you get with vertical integration. And it's been it has been and will continue to be a very long road because it's a lot of work to do everything. And that's why a lot of companies don't do it. And no fault to them. That's just not the type of company we want to be.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you've mentioned a couple of times aquaponics. Will you
Yes,
just kind of
and
break that down? I know that was a
absolutely.
question
And
that
it's
Steve and I
something
had in
I'm
the chat.
extremely passionate about. Aquaponics is using fish or water, nutrient-rich water to grow plants. So it's the merger of an aquatic ecosystem and a terrestrial ecosystem. It is very similar to a wetland or kind of just imagine like any flowing water, whether it's a river, a creek, or an estuary, something like that. It's where all of these, there's this symbiotic relationship between the aquatic life and the terrestrial life. So for us, bringing it indoors into a commercial facility, aquaponics means that we raise fish. We have koi and tilapia in these massive fish tanks, 1,200-gallon fish tanks. We have 4 of them. And those fish are our pets and they're our nutrient generators. So we're not focusing on the seafood market. We're focusing on the nutrient market, the fertilizer market. And so then we in turn, with our cultivation with the plants, we use living soil in indoor raised beds. And so we harvest our nutrients from our fish system and we water them in and fertilize our cultivation system with those nutrients.
I should have that.
That
I
is
just
fascinating.
nerded out so hard.
That is very
Slash, I was
fascinating.
like, how do I get one of those tanks in my house?
Yes,
No,
It's
this
yes.
just
is
so cool.
yeah,
It's so cool. And I think what is so important is, people have like the fads of like what's in ingredients and things like that. And for me, kind of
Hmm.
part of my start with CBD and THC was actually looking at endocrine disruptors that were in our house, like
Mm,
fragrances and all these other things that we continue to
yeah,
like load in. And I was like, well, if I don't want to put it on my body, why am I putting it in my body? So I think
yes.
that's really important as people start to think about, oh, I want to go a CBD route. But like all of that is so heavily connected. Although CBD, it is a plant at the end of the day, but to get to the plant, there's a lot
yes.
of steps before that dictate. Just like with, your beef or your chicken,
Hmm.
you've got to think of, I think you have to think of plants as almost a similar line, because you don't want, cattle that only eat corn all day, because then you're going to be filled with corn
Yeah,
ultimately,
yeah.
kind of thing.
Yes,
Yeah.
100%. And
No,
so
this is
with
yeah.
us, the way that that translates to our model is, at the end of the day, depending on how you're going to use cannabis, if you smoke it, that's the most volatile way to use it, probably the most common and most popular.
Hmm.
But you got to imagine you're taking this plant and combusting it. And so it's giving off all of these chemicals that it wouldn't otherwise give off if you were going to eat an
Mm,
edible. You're not getting this combusted thing. So for the flower specifically, we want it to be extremely clean, have no harsh chemicals involved, whether it's pesticides, herbicides, or even salt-based fertilizers. They all
mm,
change the taste and flavor, and they all change mm, the chemical expression of the plant. And so what we want is the purest expression, the exact expression that that plant was bred for. And for us,
hmm.
that comes back to feeding our plants a really clean diet.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
so walk me through your journey, Cam, and your struggle, because and you talk about our podcast and also in the life you see, people always want a quick fix. And what you're
Mm,
telling me right now is like you guys have a very, very meticulous process. So what are some of the struggles that you have faced with you going this I mean, it's a better route than
hmm.
just, getting something on the end result or finding a cheaper way to do this. So what are some of the struggles you've experienced?
I love the question, and our journey has been fraught with struggle. And there's even something we can touch on later. There's some new legislation that we can talk about that's come up since the last time
Mm.
y'all and I chatted. So
Oh
the
man.
struggles, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
The cannabis industry is fraught with struggles, no doubt. There's the top down struggles from legislative bodies that seek control or suppression of our type of business or the way that we seek to do it. And then there's the bottom up struggles where it's like simply finding a credit card processor or a bank that will, accept our money and allow us to do transactions is difficult. So
Wow.
Wow.
I mean, it's really it comes from all angles, and then there's the actual processes and equipment that we work with. So just in the cultivation facility alone, we've got air pumps and water pumps, and we've got living
Mm.
soil that we culture bacteria in and nematodes. And sometimes like right now, we're struggling with roly polies. Believe it or not, pill bugs are
Oh yeah.
they're a huge problem for us. We don't have chickens to run around in our beds and eat them all up. So
Yeah.
we're having to find creative ways to deal with those that is not using chemicals and things along those lines. So yes, fraught with struggles. We initially were using Square and we were a part of their pilot
Hmm.
program in the hemp department. They knew exactly what we were doing, and then they decided on one day last May, I believe it was, to just totally drop us with no warning and also no way
Wow.
to recover our data from their system, our email lists, our financial data, all of that. Just locked door, goodbye. Y'all are no longer customers. So,
Wow.
I
Wow.
mean, the struggles are endless, totally endless.
Wow. And the everything that you just mentioned is has nothing to do with like the consumer not understanding, or specifically, obviously we're in Tennessee.
Hmm.
We're not in a liberal state by any stretch,
Hmm.
so those aren't even the consumer who may not even have an open mind of what what you're actually selling.
Yeah.
Those are talking about truly like business function, business operations issues.
Yeah, and that's, the lens that I've been looking through more recently.
Yeah.
I think that, my bud tenders and my store managers would definitely have a different perspective. And, at
Hmm.
the end of the day, for me, a struggle that we might have with an individual customer, it's hard to compare to, like a financial paradigm or something like that.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
and to be honest, Memphis has been so fantastic to us, and we're so happy to call Memphis our home. We've been widely
Mhm.
accepted by our customers and consumers, and also the for-profits, nonprofits, charities. All of these other organizations have been welcoming us with open arms, maybe except for the banks. But we did find a bank that's been very good to us, and they've been working with us since day one.
Good.
It took a while to find them, but now they're, we're very valuable to them and they appreciate us.
Mhm.
No, that's definitely really good.
Kim, you specifically mentioned nonprofits and for profits supporting you
Hmm.
guys. Is there a story that just like comes to mind of a way that Ounce of Hope is kind of like just really impacted? I think you guys worked a little bit with St. Jude and maybe some of their patients. Is that right?
So we worked with a garden that used to be on the campus of St. Jude. And
Okay,
St. Jude
gotcha.
was actually very adamant about us not saying that we worked with them. So
Okay.
yeah,
Well,
as it turns out,
gotcha.
we've found that St. Jude does not like us very much at all. So
Oh,
I think, our business
okay.
model, it doesn't really fit with their business model. Although, cannabis
Mm-hmm.
does show a lot of promise in that regard, but their paradigm is very
Yeah,
much different. It is very anti-cannabis. But as far as a story for
fascinating.
like local entities, it's been some of the
Yeah.
biggest ones that we've been able to work with have been other farmers and other gardeners. And that is a direct result of
Cool.
this aquaponic system that we have. Again, because we're not
Hmm.
focused on seafood, we're focused on nutrient output. And so, what that means now, years down the road, as our system has developed, it means that we produce a massive excess of nutrients. And now we have
Mm-hmm.
this bottled concentrated fish poop product that's for sale all over the place. But we also, to get that up and going, we donated hundreds, potentially thousands of gallons of this fertilizer to every local farm and garden that would take it. And that's, female owned, black owned, traditional monocrop farms. It's parks and recreational facilities. It's small backyard gardeners, because we needed all the data from everybody that we could work with. And one thing
Hmm.
about farming is that fertilizer and fertility, if you don't make it yourself, it's extremely expensive. And so if you come to someone who grows
Yeah.
food or even flowers and you say, I can give you this for free, they are generally there with open arms.
Yeah. That's so cool though. And to also think, there are places in Memphis that you can then go get those produce or those
Exactly.
flowers, you know what I mean? And it's kind of like that full
Yes.
circle.
Yeah. So to kind of bring a question to you, and this is a long-winded question, so I'll dance around it. But in every industry, you see the changing guard. You see people retiring. You see people with more open mind
Mhm.
coming to the plate or whatnot. So when you look at where you guys stand today, do you feel like you guys are on the cusp of like prohibition back in the day? Like, how would you say you guys are going to be able to eventually break through and really be able to be more quote unquote mainstream? Or do you think there's always going to be that roadblock? Because let's call it what it is. I mean, from my angle, I feel this industry is not, I wouldn't say cared about or loved as much, because how do you
Mhm.
tax it? How do you control it? How do because like with pharmaceuticals, with cattle, with other
Mhm.
things, you can say, hey, make this, you
Yes.
charge this is the number. But when it comes to what you guys are doing, it's a huge variable. You can't like nail it down. And so,
Yeah.
like I said, long-winded question, but when you think about it, what would it take for you guys to break through? Is it just a newer generation coming into
In
politics, or
part,
what do you think?
politics, yes, there are definitely people in the Capitol, specific people in the Capitol that hold cannabis back in Tennessee and at the federal level. That is obvious, I
Mhm.
think, to everyone who pays attention
Mm,
at this point. Now, it brings
yeah,
me into what I was bringing up earlier about some new political happenings on the Hill in Tennessee.
yeah.
Last year, we've been working for years with the Tennessee Growers Coalition, TGC, and I cannot say enough good things about them. They're a lobby group, and they do all of the work that has been done, as far as I can see, to get hemp protected, and now in the recent years to get medical marijuana on the ballot, bills written, handed in, signed by other lobbyists and politicians, and they carry lots of the weight. We're a member with them, along with many other people in Tennessee. And last year, they helped us and we helped them get this bill passed that now protects our hemp industry in Tennessee and what I've affectionately called a recreational hemp program, because we're one of the only states in the country to have this type of hemp program where there is a excise tax on hemp products, and it protects the hemp derived THCs like Delta
Mhm.
8 and Delta 9 from hemp, and gives us this back and forth avenue
Mhm.
from a retail point of view all the way up to being taxed and reporting and delivering our taxes to the Department of Revenue in Tennessee. However, the Tennessee Department of Agriculture, despite this program that we set up with all these protections and this taxation and all of this stuff, the Tennessee Department of Agriculture has recently decided to take this warpath on hemp. And if the thing there's these two specific measures that they're trying to pass right now. And long story short, if they pass those measures, then essentially
Mhm.
90% of the products in our store would become illegal. So, yeah, so exactly, like all the ones we enjoy.
Mm.
So,
Like the one that I take.
Lana.
yeah, yeah.
I mean, I'm
No,
worried about
same.
everybody else,
It
but
feels
like
like a
the one
global
I
issue.
take.
It's like, well, this is my civil liberty I'm expressing to grow this plant and to, manufacture it and also ingest it. And it's a personal freedom that I
Right.
enjoy. And it's a great
Mhm.
thing that I'm able to have a team that participates and is
Mhm.
able to have this thriving business and share all of these products with the world. And then we feel like the Department of Agriculture has been good to us because they've been doing our site visits. We submit all of our lab testing to them. There's all of this work that we do with them. And then now to see them want to pull back so
Yeah.
far that essentially, I mean, it has a very broad potential to completely destroy the hemp market in Tennessee at large.
Wow.
I'm not prepared for that. Healing and wellness and motivation is huge for the Mizell Show. And recently we had New Day Healing and Wellness on the podcast. We are super, super excited to be able to offer you guys a discount code under the name Mizell. If you hop into New Day Healing and Wellness, you can go to Red Light, you can go to the sauna, you can do the salt booth. They have so many different things to offer, and we're just so excited for you guys to be able to experience some wellness of your own.
Will this
Mhm.
go to a vote, or this is they are the Omega or Alpha Omega, so like no matter what they do is going to happen?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I just got primed with all of this information from uh, TGC themselves, and they
Mhm.
sort of sent out this email to all of the members outlining this. And our next meeting is in early December, so I'll have way more answers to all of these questions in December once we sit down with everyone and have this big conversation. But yeah, it's a pretty big deal, and it doesn't seem like, from my limited understanding, again, like working the fact that there is a coalition that is
Mm-hmm.
taking this to the Capitol. They have ties with federal lobbyists. They're in the know. They're doing the work on the ground. We're members. We donate to them. We help bring awareness to their cause and all of these issues that we're fighting. So I don't necessarily know all the ins and outs of it, but it doesn't
Hmm.
seem like the type of thing that the public is going to get to vote on. It seems like the type of thing that is internal to the Department of Agriculture, and they've decided
Mhm.
that this is the direction they want to move. And so the coalition and other lobbyists like them are spearheading this movement to try to change their minds, to try to enact different legislation, try to modify, and that's where I know it's at right now.
Yeah. Um, so I just want to kind of tell a quick story about why this is so
Please.
impactful. Um, so like for me in particular, of course, as you're talking, I'm like marinating on how this it really, not to be super dramatic, but it will heavily affect my like everyday
Yes.
and how I function with my kids. And the biggest reason, you and I have kind of talked about this, but for people that I don't think I've talked about it on the podcast, but back in March, I started after being on a antidepressant for 4 years and on and off them years prior, decided to taper off. And truly, the only reason that I did not have side effects that I had before is because as soon as I started to taper off, we came straight into Ounce of
Mm.
Hope and said, hey, what would be best? And it was multifaceted because one, it was an organization that we knew and believed in how you guys created your products, but also the amount of knowledge that was in the store was mind blowing. I would say more knowledgeable than like I had already talked to my GP about how to truly taper off and try to not have side
Hmm.
effects, and they had no response. And then, you kind of step out of the Western medicine realm. Like, I think everything's got its place. Everybody can have their own opinion. That's not the point. But you step out of the Western medicine realm. And for me, this is just my experience. It's not going to be everybody's experience. But for me, that's the only way that I didn't have the side effects that I had had years before. And even today, I actually had a different doctor's appointment. They said, how's your anxiety and depression going? And both me and Steven looked at each other and we're like, well, other than like general stressors because of the type of society we live in, it's really not even prevalent now. And the only thing that's been consistent has been my lovely 3 grams of chocolate that I
Yeah.
have every night.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's definitely something that we have, again, it goes back to the culture that Cam and his partners and his group are creating
Hmm.
in Ounce of Hope. I mean, it's something that, it's you can easily, like you said, go to Nashville and set up a food truck and then sell this stuff at the
Yeah.
side of the truck. But to have these set up and to have the comfort to be able to go in and have conversations with people, because this was not an easy process for us. I think we
No.
went to Ounce of Hope maybe 3 or 4 times and didn't buy anything.
Yeah.
We just kind of had
Just we just had
conversations,
so
Yeah.
many
so many
questions.
questions and so
Yeah.
many conversations. So I think it's something that's really prevalent and something that you want to be able to see this. And so one question I have for you is that we're of course in Tennessee, but if you go to states like Arkansas or Colorado or other states that have legalized marijuana, they don't have to deal with anything that you're dealing with now,
I
correct?
mean, I think that I couldn't really speak to it. I think, like, let's say Arkansas, just for
Yeah.
a quick example, they have a medical program, they have all these things set up. What they struggle with is sort of a monopoly. So the powers that be have set up this system to where there's
Mm.
only, and I could be totally wrong. I want to say there's 11 cultivation licenses as far as like what a business can own and
Ooh.
how many farms there can be. Now, again, that number could be totally wrong, but it's a small
Yeah, no,
amount.
but you're just giving
Right.
us an overview.
And
We're
Yes.
just
then
trying to
and then
see.
you
Yeah.
go another
Okay.
state
Yeah.
over to Oklahoma, and when they opened their medical program, they said no limits. Anyone can have a medical license that applies and pays for it and passes a background check and the other checks and balances. And so,
Oh, bless.
and they went with that for 3 years, and then they were like, okay, this is extremely oversaturated and it's messing up the market and yada yada. So then they changed their program. So the fact that there's no federal oversight for this, and the only federal oversight is
Mm.
anti-cannabis, it means that each state has to work through
Right.
their own
Yeah.
issues. And the more established states,
Mm.
I think you're
Mm.
right. I think what you're saying, the more established states, they've got years under their belt. They've got professionals in the industry. They've got lobbyists, people working. and they're making it right for the consumer and the business and the local governments. But
Mhm.
in the states where they're opening up new programs, Alabama and New York come to mind specifically, there are massive lawsuits with the the industry trying to grow and the government holding it back. And then New York and Alabama, and I'm trying to
Mm.
remember what others. I mean, Mississippi has plenty of lawsuits to look at. Arkansas has plenty of um, lawsuits to look at.
And Cam, when you say lawsuits, like people in groups are suing the state to try to be able to get a part of it, or what do you mean by
Yes.
lawsuits?
Yes. I mean,
Okay, got it.
I
Okay,
just saw a
yeah,
headline today. I want to say there was 400 businesses in New York that were not allowed licenses, even though they had been not promised, but they had been given the opportunity to apply. And then the
Yeah.
yeah.
government's like, sure, come on in, apply, give us your money, and then are giving out zero licenses. So you've got
Wow.
hundreds of
Yep.
businesses waiting to start, and they're waiting on a program that's already been enacted, but
hmm
simply is being set on by the government and the powers that be, and it's really hard to parse those out.
And so I want to
Mm.
show my greenness as you talk, Cam. All I can picture is like a House of Cards
Yeah,
episodes,
yeah.
like
Yeah.
people moving around
I
and
mean,
talking and trying to
but
get votes and like
there is so much truth in what you just said,
yeah,
though.
I mean yeah, that's like when he is speaking right now. I am thinking of like a House of
Yeah,
Cards episodes in which he's
absolutely.
trying
Yeah,
to push through and he's talking
that's
to
the
a
government
lobbyist.
that we live in.
Mm.
But like to that point, like Cam was talking at the state level, and so now, right at this moment, we're in the state of Tennessee, and every other state individually decided,
Mhm.
but you can't maybe necessarily vote on what the Tennessee agriculture is doing,
Correct.
but we've helped put those people into office. So that's why like local elections are almost more important than a national election that is based off of an electoral college, not to get too super
Sure.
political, but like that's how you change that
Hmm.
environment
Mhm.
is by making your voice or your choice known at your local
Yeah,
level.
and that's
Yeah,
again, I
yeah.
will shout out about the Tennessee Growers Coalition. You can go on their website, people can donate, people can get involved. They're looking for all the help that they can get, especially with this coming session that's going to go into place. And they're already preparing their plan B. They're also gathering funds to be able to start a lawsuit, just like some of these other states have, to be able to fight the Department of Agriculture if they go ahead with the rules that they're talking about.
Yeah.
No.
Well, not to continue to be depressed about the my potential future, and then
Right.
we'll definitely have to move from the state of Tennessee.
Well,
Right.
and so
Um,
yeah.
but so we're just gonna pretend that everything's gonna go according to plan.
Yeah.
Nothing's gonna have to change with
Yes.
ounce of hope.
Yeah.
What are some of the big things that people kind of come into ounce of hope and they're like, I need help with this
Mm.
or this and this. What have you kind of seen?
I'd say the biggest things that people are looking for help with: sleep, um, pain,
Mm.
Would you
probably.
say anxiety?
Yeah, definitely anxiety. I think
Mhm.
people come to us with general anxiety, and then people also, whether or not they're on medication, people will just kind of spill their life story, and really they're
Yeah.
looking for help. They've been failed by whatever establishment they're trying to use or utilize, and so they're very interested in an alternative like us. And much like y'all's story, they come because they see the work that we've done, not just on our brand and our marketing, but all of the back end work on the products, the cultivation, and all of this.
Yeah.
And so
I
before
mean, but who doesn't need help with sleep?
Yeah,
and that's the thing and that's the thing about it, like we are by no means medical experts and neither is
correct.
Cam, but the thing that we try to say is that people will go to Walmart, Target, Amazon, all these places to try to find help for sleep. They will try
They'll
all
be
these
drinking
things.
bottles of NyQuil.
Hmm.
NyQuil. People will do so many things
Narcy.
and look at the things that you say people are trying to do. So what you are providing is just another alternative, another option that you set out to do your own research to see. But I think everybody's trying to look for sleep. Everybody's trying to, in this world we live in, looking to help ease maybe the anxiety or the stressors of life. And so you being able to just give them, just an ounce of hope, just giving them a chance, a chance to be able to hear this. So one of my last questions is that we at the Mizell Show are like people driven. We love communicating. How are you able to maintain and train a staff that you guys have that you trust people to give? You're not giving medical knowledge, you're just giving insight. But like,
But like also there's everyone that we've ever talked
oh
to
yeah,
is so
the,
knowledgeable.
my biggest thing is not even knowledge; it's the compassion and patience. Like these people,
Yeah, I mean, just like him just said,
yes.
people come in and they haven't seen a therapist, but your
All of a sudden
staff
there's
is the therapist.
There's therapist. So
Yeah.
how do you do it? Like, do you have a guru behind you that's like
Are
training
you
your
the
staff?
guru,
Or you the
Cam?
guru,
Are
Cam?
you
Yeah.
I'm a massive supporter of the people that work with me and the people that sign up and stay on to be a team member with me.
Mm.
So,
Mm.
yes, I mean, I do a lot of the training with my upper management, and I'm in the stores giving feedback sort of to everyone. And I'm also keeping my ears open for feedback from everyone too. And it takes a little while. Some people are shy about giving their boss feedback, but I'm a very open and relaxed person in general and always open for feedback. But as far as the training, it's something that we think about and talk about constantly. We have
Mhm.
all of these chat communications between upper managers, and even Colin, our CEO, is extremely involved with, and it's something that goes from bottom up and from top down. Again, like
Mhm.
even as the leaders in our upper management team, we are also being humble and keeping our ears open because the bud tenders that are with customers all of the time are getting so much good feedback, and they're sending us
Mhm.
notes, and they're writing things down, and they're taking little screenshots. And I mean, all the time our group chat is alive with this conversation that's building about
Mm.
how to best help folks, how to meet people where they are. And yeah, I mean, our hiring process is somewhat rigorous, and our training process is somewhat rigorous. It's certainly not for everyone, and that's okay. But
Yeah.
compassion is a must, and it's an interesting line to walk, because you can't necessarily teach empathy, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
you can teach listening, the ability to listen.
Mm.
And you can also give people information. And so it's this big library that we have. And it's also, again, bud tenders will listen to a customer, and the customer says, oh, I read this book, or I found this doctor, I listened to this podcast, and then we're all listening to that or reading that.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
it's something that we focus on a lot. The team building aspect and the health and well-being of our crew is of utmost importance. And I say crew, and even this may show you, be a little example. Like, I'm from Southern Louisiana, our CEO is from Southern Louisiana, and in Mardi Gras we have crews. It's spelled with a K, Krewe.
Uh-huh.
And
Mhm.
your
Yeah.
Mardi Gras crew is like who you think about all year. It's who you can't wait to see. And then everybody gets together, everybody brings their little piece to the puzzle, and you all put this massive thing
Mhm.
together, and you go and you show it to everyone. And that's what riding on a float is like. And so, even building the
Mhm.
company culture, when I had one or two employees working with me, it was very much like, we're a team. We don't have to be best friends. We don't have to hang out outside of work. We can turn work off at the end of the day, but while we're here together, we're a crew. We have each other's backs. We're going to trust each other. And that's maybe one of the biggest foundations that we have.
That's awesome.
No.
So, long story short, you are the reason that they're so great. Is that what you just said?
I
Is
mean,
that
they are
what
the
you-
reason I'm so great. They're the reason.
I mean.
There we go. But like I said, I'll give you a funny story. So I went to the store about 2 weeks ago, and of course I don't remember his name, but we were just chatting, and he mentioned, he's like, "Hey, isn't Cam going to hop on y'all's podcast?" We're like, I was like,
Yeah.
"Yeah." He's like, "Yeah, Cam's been talking about it. We really appreciate you guys, spreading the word and having conversations." So it was just really refreshing talking to him, and he just again, putting the dots together. Clearly, you had communicating with the crew about us, and it's
Right,
just
there's
like,
Yeah.
proof right there.
that's proof
of
that,
what-
yeah. And he was
yeah.
like,
Yep.
Yeah.
and he was
Yep.
like, I can't wait till you guys, get a chance
That's
to actually
awesome.
officially get them on, and I'll tune in. So it's just refreshing to know that you're not only talking it, but you're also showing the action. So we definitely are a Ounce of Hope and Cam fan on this podcast.
Thank you.
Just
Thank you.
absolutely amazing. Okay, Cam. Of course, they've got the store. What's another
Mhm.
way? You guys have an Instagram. Is it Ounce of Hope? Man, I'm gonna say it wrong. Do you know what the Instagram handle is?
I want to say it's Ounce of Hope 901, but
Yes.
again,
Okay.
with this like suppression, you have to type it in exactly for it to show up. So I want to say
Oh.
it's and we've been shut down on Instagram. I don't even know how many times, and had to restart a new page, get new followers. So
Gotcha.
so far we haven't been censored on YouTube. The
Okay.
YouTube is Ounce of Hope 901, and I admittedly don't do any social media, so I'm always at a loss for how to perfectly find us. But obviously, the website can get you there, and the website
Yeah.
can help you find all of those resources. But yeah, the YouTube is something we have some decent content up there, but coming into 24, the platform with YouTube and the content that we create is going to be a huge focus for us.
Yeah. That's awesome. So also, so you can obviously go to the store,
Hmm.
the website. I have one more question. If you were to give somebody who is just starting to kind of look at the CBD hemp world one piece of advice, what would it be?
Oh, that's a great question. One piece of advice. Um, Ask a lot of questions, I think. Don't
Yep.
be shy and ask every question that comes to mind, and certainly don't be shy to say prove it to someone. I think
Mm-hmm.
it's a little lacking sometimes, especially in the medical world. People get really daunted by this uh, disparity of information. You come in as a new consumer or a curious consumer, and you realize very quickly that there's this mountain of knowledge that you have no contact with. And the only way to cross that boundary is to open up and ask the questions and not be shy. And again, like y'all said, our stores are extremely inviting, they're very welcoming,
Mm-hmm.
and that is very much on purpose. We wanted to make spaces where people could come and feel comfortable and not feel rushed, not feel, we don't train people to sell. We train people to listen again and
Mm-hmm.
to just try to provide helpful information. There's plenty of customers, like you said, that come in and don't buy anything, and that's totally fine.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
look to be this open platform because there are not a lot of safe spaces for cannabis, especially in a state like Tennessee. So we have this safe space. We have our info line that people shoot us questions all the time. People are always DMing us on Instagram and asking questions, and we take the time to answer all of them.
I love that.
All right, so I know I said last question, but
Yeah.
Alana is a huge researcher. She reads way more than I do. So we always like to ask our guests, like, what are you reading or what are you watching that can help educate people about the industry, like a book or a Netflix documentary or something out there. And I know on our call we were catching up with you, mentioned like a Wikipedia or a encyclopedia that gives like a breakdown
Sure.
for people.
Yeah, so that's a
Yeah.
really easy to use website. It's Leafly, Lefly.
Leafly,
Yeah,
yes.
Leafly has a massive amount of information, tons of articles, and I'll also say we have a library of articles as well on our website. We have tons of blog
Okay.
articles that we write on a regular basis, and it's, it goes much deeper into our frequently asked questions, and that's a great place to start. But yeah, Leafly, you can have the most fun you want looking around on Leafly, clicking and reading articles. I mean, you can search for a strain of cannabis simply by an effect or by a smell, and that is such good information.
Yeah.
And yeah, there's tons of podcasts out there. Shaping Fire with Shango Los is a fantastic cannabis industry podcast. There's also the Cannabis Science and Cultivation podcast. those are really fantastic repertoires of information to be able to look at the cannabis industry from all angles.
So you
Very
got
cool.
what book are you reading,
Uh,
Cam?
yeah,
Is a reader.
Are you?
two
well,
two
are you
books
a-
right now. Yeah, two
There we go.
books. I am reading Meditations by Marcus Aurelius. Just started
Yeah.
that
Okay,
one.
yeah.
And then I'm on the last pages of the 40 Rules of Love. So yeah, nothing to do with cannabis because I need.
Okay.
No, but hey, Cam,
Okay.
it's still good
I'm
stuff,
here
man.
for it.
There you go, man.
Love
No,
it.
we love that, and
I
we
literally
it's-
just added
Oh,
both
they're
to my
fantastic.
exactly.
Yeah,
She's
they
a
are
good one. There
fantastic.
you go.
Yes.
So no, that is awesome. So we appreciate you.
Oh, absolutely. Love to talk to y'all. Love to see y'all. I definitely would like to set up a farm tour with y'all. You can bring the kids.
Oh,
Oh
Yeah.
yes,
I'll just bring my cotton. to
Yeah,
them, is what you're
yeah.
saying.
yeah.
Got it.
And yeah, happy to
And,
talk to y'all
our
anytime.
5-year-old will happily get your roly
Oh,
polies
for
out.
sure.
He'll
Yeah.
get 'em. He'll get 'em.
Yeah.
All right, Cam. Thank you, buddy.
Absolutely.
We
Appreciate
you.
y'all. See y'all soon. Talk to y'all soon.
All right, bye.
So if you guys are enjoying this, definitely leave us a review. Give us the feedback. If there's something you guys want us to talk about, reach out to us on our website at themizellshow.com. There is a contact section. You can put it in there. We would love to hear about it. Or you can always go over to Instagram at The Mizell Show. Also, as always, don't forget to screenshot this episode and just add it to your stories and tag us on Instagram, on Facebook at The Mizell Show. Thanks, guys. Are you loving The Mizell Show? Well, we love you all. And did you know that you can have me and Steven talk to your team or a group of 25 of your friends? All it takes is 25 people showing up on either a Zoom call, a Facebook Live, or really anywhere. Hopefully in person sooner rather than later. But how do you get us? So all you have to do is email themizellshow@gmail.com, or you can direct message us on Instagram at The Mizell Show.